Hello! Today we are here to discuss Zapotec, the newest release from Board and Dice Games. Matter of fact, I just picked it up today.
Oh.
So it's brand new to us. So before we get into it though, make sure you hit that subscribe button down there and the notification bell just slightly over there because you want to follow along because we're getting a ton of new releases lately and we got all these old games still too. Want to hit that vintage closet again. It's been a while. Rob and I are talking about that, so I think next time he's in town, we'll be breaking into the vintage vault again.
Nice.
So now let's talk about Zapotec. So Zapotec says a 2022 release. Its rating currently on Board Game Geek is 7.3, and its current rank is 3881. It is a 1 to 4 player game. Average length of game is 60 to 75 minutes, and it's recommended for ages 12 and up. That's probably about right. There's a lot of iconography in the game. Designed by Fabio Lopiano. Art is by Zbigniew Umgelter and Alexander Zawada. And it's published, as we mentioned, by Board and Dice Games. A $50 MSRP on this. I picked it up at Card House, and they're $34.49. Miniature market is $35, so $34 to $35 is about the right range, and it's actually for the price pretty good deal for that price. So let's talk about the quality of the components here. So I was actually pretty impressed with some of these pyramid pieces. They're really nice pyramids that go together nicely on the board. They're 3 tiers. The other buildings are not so impressive. They're just kind of like stretched out Monopoly houses.
They're tall.
Yeah. But yeah, apart from that, you've got some wooden discs. Cardboard's decent thickness, nothing real special.
Player mats.
There is a little linen finish on them. Mm-hmm. Player mats are really thin. They're not paper thin, but slightly cardstock almost. You've got some cards that, for whatever reason, they're not linen finished. I don't know why they chose to linen finish the tiles, but not the cards. So these are probably going to need to be sleeved. Well, there's maybe a little bit of a linen finish. It looks like there's a little texture to it.
Yeah,
I guess there is.
Back, you can see
you can feel it. It doesn't stand out. It's not real heavily finished, but there is a little linen finish on them. So all in all, you get a lot of bits for this. Nothing apart from the pyramids really stands out as being just wow. But, for the bits you get, I think it's probably about a 7.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree. It's not terrible quality stuff. It's just not hugely impressive.
Yeah.
So, and that's fine.
Yeah. And it does have a decent sized board as well.
Yeah.
So let's talk about themes. So the theme is you are a tribe from the Zapotec, and you are building out your civilization, and you're building your pyramids and your housing. I'm assuming your buildings of some kind in different areas of the forest or the mountains or hills or the kind of the
probably different
plains.
Tribes of Zapotes, maybe. Yeah.
And then, apart from that, you're just basically gathering resources and traveling up a track. It's not really heavy in theme,
no,
I wouldn't say. But I think the pyramids do draw you in. But apart from that,
some of the actions I think help bring that theme together.
Yeah,
the way that those happen. But
but it's kind of a layered on. You could really make it anything. You're constructing something, and you've got an income track, and it's just it's a typical track type game.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't immerse you in theme.
Right.
So I don't know. Probably for me, I'm probably maybe a 6.
Okay. Well, I think some of the artwork's really nice. I think the box here has some nice artwork on it. The board has some nice artwork. The little statue art on it's nice. I'm actually going to go. I think it's a 7. I think it is a 7 just because of some of the components that bring it all together. It's not amazing.
No,
but it's Good.
Yeah, I could not get past looking at this blue statue and thinking Stitch. I kept calling him Stitch all throughout the
It's
game.
got wings.
It's ears. That's its ears. But yeah, it's just look at this. It's the color of Stitch, and it's just the shape kind of looked like him.
Yeah.
So okay, so that was theme. So let's talk about the rule book. So the rule book is nice front, back, and cover. It is 24 pages in length with the cover and back. It has it's real simple instructions on setting it up. It wasn't hard to set up at all. We did have to, I think, pause a little bit on the card placement because but that just took us a second to realize we made a mistake because we had an extra card and missed the fact that you were supposed to put it. But I think that was just an oversight. I don't think it was the rules fault.
Because when you read it again,
it was clear.
It was clear that's what that was.
And then the player boards, they have a nice pictorial on how to set those up. They're very clear. The actual instructions on playing the game, it just steps you right through the turn. I mean, it takes you, and all of this is represented on these amazing cheat sheets. These are really well done.
These are nice.
I don't like the pointy edges. I wish they
should have rounded.
But apart from that, they have all the information on your turn order, and it's exactly got the information you need to play the game. You almost don't need the rule book if you knew what you were. You go, one person reads the rule book, everyone else can pretty much just follow along with the cheat sheets.
Yeah, and then the back shows you.
And the back has all the scoring.
Yeah.
So it's super helpful. Yeah, this is one of the better cheat sheets. So all in all, I mean, the rule book was effective. It's got nice pictures. It's very helpful. And then after there's 16 pages of actual rules. You have the solo mode, and then they have an appendix that tells you all of the tiles on the board, all the iconography, what it does. So everything's included in the ritual cards. I think it's probably a 9. I mean, it's a very good rule book. There's not much I can take and ding it for. And the scorecards are amazing. So
yeah, they are really good.
All right, so let's go on to gameplay. So in this game, first of all, you're going to start out. We have a set of what are the tiles up there? Trade tiles, they call them.
Trade tiles.
So you have level 1s, level 2s, and level 3s. You fill the board with those, and you have stacks to backfill as you play the game. You have 3 randomly selected ritual cards that you can complete as you build up your pyramid. So your goal in the game is to basically generate income by getting your housing or buildings off of your board onto the board in locations and replacing tiles that are on the board, which you get to place on this neat grid you've got on your player board. And it's a fairly simplistic income system because you're either going to play your cards you have 3 things on them. They have an icon at the top that represents wood, brick, or stone, which is going to reflect the same as your income track. So you can either trigger a row or column that has the same icon. Right. And you get the icon itself as production, and then any tiles you've accumulated during the course of the game. So the first round, you're not going to generate but one icon.
One resource.
Because you won't have any tiles. But as you go, you'll accumulate more and more tiles fairly quickly.
Yeah, at first we're like, I don't know how this is going to play out. But it definitely ramps up.
Because it's only a 5-round game.
Yeah.
In the middle, you have an icon that represents one of 3 things. It's either a region of the board, which is going to be the Stitch region, the green jade statue region, or the gold statue region. You're going to have a terrain type, which is going to be the plains, the mountains or hills, and then or the forest. Or you're going to have one of the 3 building types. And whatever icon is there, you are going to be limited where you can build or what you can build based upon that icon. So in this case, this is the Stitch icon. So it means I have to build in that region when I play this. At the bottom of the card, it's got a number, and it ranges from 1 to 27. This will determine turn order for the round. So when everybody's going to simultaneously pick a card from their hand, and you have a hand of 4 cards, and then everybody reveals whatever the number is, that's going to determine the turn order, whoever's got the lowest up to the highest. And from that point forward, the next thing is you're going to collect income based upon your chart. And you can choose whether you want the row or the column and get all of the various income. Each tile that you have has 2 icons on it, and there's 2 levels of goods.
Yes.
You have the basic ones, which are the stone, brick, and wood. Or you have the advanced ones, which are coins, priests, and corn. And from those things, then after you get your income, you get capital actions.
Yes.
So the capital actions you can take is where you can acquire the trade tiles that cost you coins. You can buy, based upon the level 1, 2, or 3, it's going to cost you 1 to 3 coins. And you can only buy 1 from each row. So you could spend 6 coins and buy 1 from each if you wanted. But they get more powerful as you go up. The first tier, it's basically a one-time benefit. You get 2 resources, or in most cases, I think
most cases it's the basic, but there's a combination sometimes of a basic and I think it's usually corn.
Then you use it and you flip it over, and you may get benefit from it later, so you want to hold on to them because you may get bonus points for those. But you're going to get that one-time benefit. The second tier is kind of a once per round benefit. You get it and you can trigger it and then flip it over and then trigger it again the next round.
Right.
And the third tier is kind of a hodgepodge, but it's got kind of a once per game or once per round, or it could be an ongoing effect. Yeah. So it really depends on what the luck of the draw is. Another action you can take is you can sacrifice your priests along with corn, up to 5 corn, 1 to 5, to move up the track, the sacrifice track. And there's victory points along the track, and there's resources along the track, and there's discounts on your buying of the trade tiles. So you can actually reduce all of them as you move up to the point where it's only 1 gold for any of the 3. I thought that was really cool. And then also, there's benefits that will reduce and change how you play ritual card tiles, which we'll get to in a moment. The next action is building your actual pyramid. Now, the pyramid costs you 1 priest and 1 of each of the basic goods: wood, brick, and stones. So you pay the 3 goods and pay the priest, and you get to place a piece of your pyramid. Now, you start out the game with 1 large section of your pyramid, 2 medium size, and 3 small. And when you're building into a empty terrain, there's 4 terrain spots for them, so 1 for each player, but it doesn't have to be. You can actually play in blocking, in essence, some of your other players from getting them. But you play into a region, the largest base that you have into the region that is available. Now, if you play on top of an existing pyramid, you can choose whatever the next tier up is for that pyramid. There's no restriction. If you play the first base onto an area, there's 5 bonus tiles that you choose from, and you pick that one that's most beneficial for you, and you associate it with that pyramid. At the end of the game, you'll get bonus points for all your houses you have in that territory type or that building type or whatever the tile is.
Right.
Then the pyramid itself, if it gets completed, also generates 5 victory points for each tier for the player that's on there. So in this case, I built the entire pyramid, so I get 15 bonus points for that pyramid alone, on top of the bonus I got for all my buildings of the terrain type, which was in the plains. So I had 4 territories in my plains. I get 3 times 4, so I got 12 points plus 15 points, 27 points just from that building.
That was big.
Yeah. And, each
game.
Yeah. Corey took all of his bits off, I just noticed.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, so that's how the pyramids work. The pyramids are also connected to the ritual cards. Mm-hmm. So for every tier that you've played into the pyramids, you can choose to later on pay a priest and place one of your discs on one of these ritual cards. Now, that's assuming it's empty. If there's already discs on the ritual card, you have to pay 1 gold per disc. That's 1 gold if there's discs.
If there's already discs.
So you basically are paying, but you don't pay the players who are there. You pay it to the bank. So the players don't benefit from that.
Right.
But basically, you play your disc there, and that end of game bonus is now active for you. And there's a set of cards of those. You randomly choose 3 at the beginning of the game, so you're going to have different games each time you play for a while. I mean, I'm sure going to be overlap and repeat at some point because there's not a ton of cards, but there are several to choose from. So those are your basic actions. Did I cover them all?
Yeah, I believe you did. You did sacrifice, build trade, buy trade, build pyramid, perform a ritual. Yeah, those are your capital actions.
All right. So after you do all the capital actions you choose to do or can afford to do, then you're going to do your build actions. And your build actions are paying the cost of the different resources, which are very clearly put on top of your player board. And you get to place a building, assuming it meets the criteria of the region or the criteria of your card
that you played for your action card.
Right. So you got to watch that. Now, the other problem I kept running into is I kept coincidentally picking the same region or type as somebody else who happened to have a lower number than me. So I ended up running into resistance everywhere I went because there was already somebody in my way.
Yes.
So it prevented me from scoring as many points as I could have scored, but I still
managed to win. So,
so
despite all your whining through the game, you still pulled out.
Well, the frustrating thing is that each one of you at one point in the game did it whatever you could to hose me inadvertently in most cases. I don't think was inadvertent. Corey was inadvertent.
Occasionally did it. On purpose. Yes.
And Miranda was kind of inadvertent, but then I think she took hers back because she changed her mind. It wasn't as beneficial for her.
Yeah.
So, but then I didn't end up using that tile anyway. But yes, I was frustrated at some point during the game with all 3 of you. But yeah, I mean, the building of it in the resource generation, I loved that mechanic. I thought that was really cool. And it's very simplistic, but it's still effective.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was not expecting that. That was really a neat mechanism.
Yeah.
It's sort of an engine building, but it's not real in depth.
Yeah.
But, it still gives you that feel of I'm controlling my fate and what I'm going to get in future rounds for production by choosing the tiles strategically. I kept running into a problem where I could only produce stone for the entire game, which wasn't really helpful. But in the end, it's the stone tiles are what gave me the game. So
one of the important things also about the end of the turn is you're also selecting a card from a select group of cards, which also is very beneficial because those could give you what you need or keep others from getting what they need. But you don't know what they have in their hand.
Yeah.
So
and at the end of your turn, there's a card in the center that is going to be the scoring card for that round. So you get 2 points for each building of yours that's in the region or type that is pictured. So the last player out here, when they pick their top card, they're going to be determining the scoring for the next round.
Which is a very powerful position to be in.
So selecting first is beneficial because you get your pick of cards. You get lets you get the resource, because we ran into several times where it was, do I choose stone, stone, or stone when you were towards the end? But if you're the first, you're going to get your pick of the resources you want, and pick of the region, and pick of the number.
Yeah.
So you get to choose whatever's the best combination for you. But whoever's last also has this powerful decision to make between the 2 of cards that are remaining, because they get to choose what's going to score for the next round. Right. So I like that balance. And then the next thing is all the cards that were played for the round become the next draw pile. Yeah. And then you flip one more card from the stack, which is the timer in essence for the game.
Yeah.
and that becomes your next pool of cards. So cards are going to be moving between players throughout the game because of that mechanic. So I thought this was a really elegant game. I mean, I thought it was well designed.
It was.
I was surprised how much I liked this game. I wasn't sure. I was on the fence about buying it, and my sister contacted me, and she was like, "Are you getting it?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm not sure." And then I was like, I was eyeing it, but I'm not sure because we do like a lot of the native tribe games. You know, Miranda's a huge fan of Zolkin, and we got we liked a lot of the Mayan themed games. So this one was another one of those native tribes. And I was like, well, we usually get those. And then I saw the price on it, and I was like, well, for that price, I'll go ahead and pick it up. And I'm glad I did because I really enjoyed this game. I'm surprised at how well it was made. I'm probably somewhere like an 8.5, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I too am really impressed with the game. I started off doing what I thought was a bad choice, seeing everybody starting to produce a lot of things, and I only produced a little bit because of the choice I made in the beginning. But I was quickly able to turn it around.
Yeah.
And for most of the game, people were afraid of where I was at.
Well, I mean, you got that one card that just gave you trade in for 2 corn every time.
Yeah.
And that like basically gave you the track.
It gave me, it allowed me to.
I mean, my goal was I was like the first one moving up the track, and I thought, okay, I'm just going to dominate the track. That was my original plan, and I had to adapt my plan like several times during the game because you took off, and I was like, there's no way I can compete with you on corn.
Right.
And then I'm like, okay, so I'm going to go for the pyramids. And then when Corey started taking over the pyramids, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to have to adapt that too. But I ended up coming back, and the pyramids actually what gave it to me because I think I outpaced him after a while on that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, the game is a really good game. I don't think there's a point in the game where you say, well, I'm just beat. Because I think there's always a chance to turn it around, which I think is a great great thing.
And it's got a lot of ways to score. I mean, it's not just a one-trick pony again.
Right.
I always like that.
I agree.
I mean, it's not. I don't call this a point salad game because there's only so many options. I mean, you get points as you move up the score track. You get points for each round for where your buildings are, and then you've got the pyramid points and the ritual points.
Yeah, there's not a lot of different places to get those points, but there's a lot of options.
Yes, and a lot of choices throughout the game.
Right.
So yeah.
So I think I'm with you. I think I really like the game. I think it's an 8.5.
Yeah. I mean, I am very happy with this purchase. And if you have not heard of this, look into it. If you like light engine builders or engine builders in general, it's got that mechanic. If you like area control, it's got that mechanic.
Yeah.
And Miranda doesn't like area control games. I think she liked this one.
I think she did like this one.
And you've got your resource management. You've got a lot of mechanics in this game for a very light price.
Yeah,
I mean, especially if you get it from one of the online retailers, or in our case, we're lucky enough to have an online retailer in our backyard. But yeah, I would highly recommend looking into this one. I was not expecting it to be this good, so check it out. And if you enjoy it, let us know. If you don't enjoy it, let us know that too. We'd love to hear from you. The comments are right below there. Yeah, right next to that subscribe button. If you haven't hit it yet, hit that button. Join us. We want you along for the ride. So and we're going to be at Origins, at least Miranda and I will be, in June. So if you're going to be in the Columbus, Ohio area, hit us up. We'll probably be wandering around with our Legends of Nirvana logo shirts, so you'll see us. And we're going to be shooting some press with a lot of the vendors up there. So we'll hopefully have some good information for you when we come back with new games coming out. I know we've got the people that make Creature Comforts. We got an appointment to meet with them and see what new products they're bringing. We got an appointment to demo a Kickstarter that I'm super excited about. I was already eyeing it, and they contacted me and said, would you like to demo our game? I'm like, absolutely. It's a Roman-themed game.
Oh, nice.
44 BCE. So I'm looking forward to that one. I had it on my checklist of games to try. So, super excited. We'll be bringing you information from up there. And as soon as we get back, we'll be sending you information on what all we found at Origins. And then we'll also be at Gen Con in August. I'll be turning my big 50 in Gen Con this year. Con? Yes. Nice. Oh, it's going to be rough.
We'll get you a cane, don't worry.
I don't know if I get a cane.
Maybe a walker.
Yes. It's more appropriate. We'll talk to you next time. Bye. Bye.